Everybody, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us for another video. I'm really happy to welcome our guest teacher, Curt Soloff here. Hey, Curt, thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
Now, folks in the Denver area might know Curt. Folks from all over might know Curt. He's an esteemed, respected teacher and player. Just last year, Curt, correct me if I'm wrong, you received a pretty special award, the Jan Janitsky Award in the Denver area, recognizing your teaching there. Is that right?
Yeah, and it was quite an honor. For those who don't know Jan Janitsky, he was a multiple-time national champion and considered the top player in the state of Colorado for, well, decades, really. It was would have been special to receive the award anyhow, but especially the fact that it bears Jan's name, somebody who was actually a personal friend that we regrettably lost to Alzheimer's a few years ago. But yeah, I was quite honored to get this award.
Well, our congratulations to you for that, and yeah, it's nice to hear you honor Jan with your kind words. Curt, you said you had an interesting hand for us. Before I load it up, anything we should know going into it?
Yeah, I would just introduce this hand by saying, you know, when we're playing bridge, I think we have a tendency to really focus on the bids that our opponents make, which look, sometimes our opponents don't bid at all on an auction, and we haven't been given any information initially to work with, and we have to make all these discoveries on our own. Sometimes our opponents open or overcall or double, do something that gives us a little more in the way of clues. We always want to use information that's available to us. But I always like to emphasize the point that what people don't bid during the auction, or what people don't lead as a defender while you're trying to play a hand, we can glean as much from this at times as we do, and sometimes even more than if they did bid.
Oh, I love it. Okay, shall we dive in?
Yeah, let's get to it.
All right. All right, so here we are. Hand is loaded up. Curt.
All right. As we see here, North-South have landed in a 4-heart contract, and understanding that not everybody's auction may come out exactly this way, but I would expect in the end probably 4 hearts, not an uncommon nor an unreasonable contract for North-South to be in.
Okay.
So Bajir is at the wheel here. Is going to have to declare this hand.
Oh boy, I'm scared. Luckily, I have you here to help out.
Receiving the opening lead of the Ace of Spades. And fair to assume, I think, that this is from Ace King. Certainly a common and recommended opening lead. And
okay,
we'll let you work out through the play here and see if you can do what needs to be done to make this contract. It is in fact makeable. Of course, a lot of times when we're in suit contracts, I always recommend counting losers at the outset.
Sure.
And certainly on this lead, the defense is probably going to go ahead and cash their 2 spades. And we don't have any diamond losers. The trump suit, well, that remains to be seen, right? We're missing the king of trump, and I think that is likely a finesse that we would want to take.
Right. Especially with the queen, jack 10 all on the same side.
Right. So this is a finesse that there's only one way to take. And that's going to be while you're on the dummy, attacking the heart suit from the dummy.
Okay.
Now we have an interesting issue in the club suit as well. And we could afford to lose, along with those two spades, we could afford to lose a heart, or we could afford to lose a club. But if we're going to make this game, we can't afford to lose both, right? There's only one way to deal with it.
I have to say, few hands make me as nervous as playing in game in a suit with only 8 of the trumps. I hate missing 5, especially 5 with one of the most important ones.
Yeah, but this is still common. Look, that's another thing we talk about too. 9 card fits are better than 8 card fits. 10 card fits are better than 9 card fits. The bigger the trump fit, the better. But we certainly find ourselves in a lot of say major suit games in just an 8 card fit with suits that may have some holes in it that we have to deal with.
All right. So with our potential losers, with the King of Hearts and the Queen of Clubs, how should we plan our play? How are we going to do our best to avoid both of those losers?
Well, I think the first thing we want to do is deal with the trumps as soon as we get in.
Okay.
Assuming that the defense starts by cashing a couple of spades, and I'll just go ahead and we'll just say that East is given a standard signal here. We'll say that 10 of spades is in fact encouraging.
Okay.
I know folks are using different carding methods too. You might play upside down carding rather than standard carding. And why not, for the defense, go ahead and try to cash a 3rd round of spades, even if you think it isn't going to live here with this Queen of Spades, but it doesn't cost the defense anything to try.
Okay.
All right. And then, of course, now having roughed the spade in your hand, you want to be in the dummy.
Yeah.
The first thing we need to figure out, and really no compelling reason to delay drawing trump here, right? So probably
and just to make sure I understand this right, if we're leading towards the Queen, Jack 10, the King's gonna come out. We are hoping that the King can come out. We're hoping that the King is in East's hand. And that's why we want to be able to lead towards the Ace 9.
Exactly. And this means that you've got to cross to the dummy in one of your side suits, right?
Right.
Because, and I see this a lot with students. A lot of times I see people simply playing in the situation, a heart out of their hand, but
right.
That's a give up play. You're if you lead a small heart from your hand, you're conceding the King of Trump, and you may not have to lose it. So you don't want to do that.
Right. It sounds like here might end up being the difference between making our contract and going down.
Sure. And then so that you're on the dummy to take the finesse, you're kind of stuck with crossing to the dummy in the diamond suit, which is relatively safe. I don't think there's much fear at this stage of the diamond getting rough with only 2 in the dummy and 4 in your hand. But more importantly, you don't want to spend your ace of clubs yet, because if you decide to finesse west for the Queen of Clubs later, you've lost that option, right?
Of course.
So the idea here is deal with the trumps first.
Right.
See what happens there, and then make a decision later on the clubs.
So knowing we want to play from dummy, we have to get to dummy's hand. We have 2 entries up there with these 2 beautiful aces. But if we were to play up to the ace of clubs, we're going to lose a chance to finesse towards dummy later on. So we're going to hold on to that, use the ace of diamonds first. And now we'll play the queen and let it run.
Yeah, good idea to play the queen and let it run. You do have the 9 in your hand, but if you play small to your 9 and the finesse actually wins, you won't be in the dummy to repeat it as you would wish.
Okay.
because once if it is working, we want to run another heart.
Right. Then we'd have to lose our that important ace club as our entry to get back to dummy's hand. Instead, lead the queen. If the ace comes out, great. If not, if the king comes out, great. If not, we're still where we want to be.
All right. Well, now we're booked and we can't afford to lose any more tricks. We've got to take the rest.
Curt, it felt like things were going a little too well so far. Okay, so what do we do now?
Yeah, well, yeah. Hey, you know what I always like to say? What I give my it's pretty rare that I give my students hands with contracts that can't be made. So we like there to be a nice goal at the end, knowing that the contract can be made and that it's simply a matter of getting the play right.
Now, can I just ask a quick question too? The contract could be made also, we could just go for the club finesse. Should we just go for it and say, whichever way the cookie crumbles, finish drawing trumps, go for the finesse, or is there something else that we should be doing?
I do think you'll want to take a club finesse, and that's just based on pure probabilities. When we are missing 6 cards in the club suit, the finesse is 50-50. Either opponent could have that queen of clubs. Versus if we're playing for it to drop, that is a much lower percentage. So we don't want to play for a doubleton queen. We do want to finesse, but with ace jack in the dummy and king 10 in our hand, this is what we call the two-way finesse, right? We have to decide
which way, Curt?
Which opponent. Now, there's some interesting stories about how finesses should be taken. You can go back to the lore of, superstitious people like Barry Crane, who had some non-mathematical reasoning for taking various finesses various ways. But I don't know. I'm more of an adherent to math and probabilities. So ultimately, the question becomes, and note, by the way, after winning the King of Hearts, West is just returning a heart here. And that is because I'm just trying to be passive here with the defense. I don't want to help you. I don't want to break the club suit and solve your problem for you.
Right.
And of course, so looks like our trumps are splitting. That's good news. Don't have to deal with a 4-1 trump break.
Here's a question. Do I need to decide now which hand I want to be in to be able to make that club finesse now?
No, you're fine to be in either hand now.
Okay.
Once we make our decision on the club suit, then we'll go from there.
Okay.
And of course, we do have one trump still lurking out there. Okay, so the club suit hasn't been touched. Neither defender has discarded a club. So this is the $64,000 question, Bajir. How do you know who has the queen of clubs?
And let me open it up to the viewers. Take a second. You've seen everything. We've all seen everything together. There must be some clues out there because we know Curt wouldn't just leave it to a coin toss. Which way do you want to finesse those clubs? Put your money where your mouth is. Leave a comment. Real fast. Now, if I remember, before you even loaded up the hand, you gave us, I think, an important hint with asking us to remember sometimes what the opponents don't lead or don't bid is as important as what they do lead or do bid.
Exactly. And we did catch a quick glimpse of the auction before we started. And Hopefully everyone will recall that East-West did not bid at all on this hand. Notice also that West was the dealer. So West had the first shot at this and could have opened the bidding. West passed.
Great.
West did not have an opening hand. If we think about the cards that have been played, what have we seen from West? Well,
oh wow, right.
We saw the two big spades, right?
Yeah.
Ace and king of spades from on the go when those were cashed. And then you took that finesse in the trump suit and it failed. So West also had the king of hearts.
Bells are going off.
All right. Can West have the queen of clubs?
If West also had the king of clubs, West would have opened. West would have been strong enough to open.
That would be a 12-point hand. And in my universe, all 12-point hands get opened, whether they're nice 12s or icky 12s. 12 high cards is 12 high cards. That's an opening book in my universe. Either we know, we'll put it in quotation marks, right? Either we know that East has the queen of clubs and should take our finesse accordingly, or if we decide to play East for the queen of clubs and get this finesse wrong, you know what? Chalk it up. The opponents got us. They failed to open a hand with opening values in the West, right? And I guess I'm willing to live with that if that's what's going on.
Brilliant. We get to take the stress out of our process because we found the clue, which makes it clear where the club queen is more likely to be from a pass, the very first pass in the auction.
Yeah, and notice also that now, what if East had held the king of hearts?
Oh,
right. East might have held the king of hearts, and then there would be room for either opponent to hold the queen of clubs. But and it would truly be a guess in that situation, right?
Right.
But if East held the the king of hearts, then we wouldn't have lost the heart, and we could have afforded to get the club wrong and still make our contract.
Right.
So at least in terms of taking our 10 tricks, we would have been fine. And one other small note here is you're finessing the 10. Once you've decided to play East for that queen, a very good practice in your play, go ahead and cash the ace first. Because once you're committed to playing East for the queen, while a singleton queen is likely not lurking out there, it doesn't hurt to check it first. And then sometimes the queen pops up doubleton when you lead the suit the second time. That's reassuring because then you actually see it as you cover it, and you know that you're bringing this 4-heart game home.
I'm glad you corrected that. As soon as I put down the 6 clubs, I wondered if I should have played the 9 to be able to stay in hand to do it again. Ace would have been even better.
Yeah, you could have, although since you only have 3 clubs in your hand, this is actually a finesse that you don't need to repeat, right? You're only going to have to do it once because with 3 clubs to the king 10 in your hand and the ace jack 9 4th in dummy, we only need this finesse to work once. And then if you really want to, you can play top club winners and it's rough from there if you need to.
Okay. Beautiful. There's that queen. I sped past it. We should have appreciated that moment more.
Yeah. See, now you're throwing away winners. You could even rough your good king of diamonds if you really wanted to, because that jack of clubs is a winner.
How about that? All right. Let's do it.
Sometimes I like to play for style points. If you ever get a chance to throw away an ace that you don't need, that's always fun.
Style does not enter my game at all, because as soon as I would try for it, I'm sure I would have miscounted one of the suits and messed up the last clear tricks. Curt, what a beautiful hand! I love it.
Well, and you maximized it. You took all the tricks to which you were entitled here. The 2 spade losers and the king of hearts are unavoidable. but that club loser is avoidable, and you succeeded in avoiding that.
Well, Curt, you got us to it. And if it weren't for the clues that you gave us, the reminder to really think about searching for all the clues, not just, flip a coin, but look for the clues everywhere, that helped us chart our course.
Exactly. And understand that you won't always have these clues available. Right. We made a discovery on this hand. The key discovery was made when the King of Hearts showed up as the 10th point to appear from the West hand. We won't always have that luxury. Sometimes you can test some other suits and you see a few honors appear from your opponents, but you still come to the conclusion, well, I haven't resolved everything. Either opponent might still have this card, and you might be reduced to a guess. This is a hand where you can do better than a guess, but understand that sometimes you still just have to take your best shot with the guess, and even then, it's still a coin flip, right? It's still 50-50.
But here there was more information, and what I love especially, it was right there in that very first pass. Once we saw a few more cards come down. Curt, thank you so much. We'd love to have you back again soon. This was an awesome hand.
Yeah, this was fun. Let's do it again.
All right. Thank you everyone for watching. Leave any comments or questions below. Till next time. Thanks, Curt.